Hello precious people, how are we all today? I hope you guys are having a great day. Welcome or welcome back to Trapped by Love. My name is Emma Carrington, and if you're interested in true crime and justice, you're in the right place. By way of a disclaimer, we discuss true crime cases involving domestic abuse and domestic homicide on this channel. So if that's not the kind of content you were looking for, I completely understand, and thanks for stopping by. If you do stick around though, I hope you consider hitting that subscribe button. It helps to push these videos out to more people, and by doing so, together we can spread awareness of the warning signs of domestic abuse that people may otherwise overlook. Either way, thanks for your help and support. Now let's go ahead and get into today's case. Today we're going to be discussing the case of Kuston Johnson. Kuston Johnson lived in Bowling Green, Kentucky, and is described by everyone who knew him as the life of the party. He was charismatic and everyone loved him. Kuston had many passions in life, including cooking, fishing, playing basketball, and mixing music. He enjoyed barbecuing for the family and would do anything for anyone who needed it. Being the first to offer a ride or help with handiwork. The most loving and heartfelt words come from his ex-fiancée and the mother of his child, who explains that even though their relationship didn't work out, they remained great friends and co-parented their son together amicably. Mandy, Kuston's ex, says that she always felt secure in her relationship with him and says that their relationship was fun. They were young. The couple met while Kuston was still in college, so it's sort of understandable that they ended up going their separate ways. When he was in his 30s, Kuston met Kaylee Whitehall, who was in her 20s. Kuston's mum wasn't really keen on the woman her son had brought home. She says that she seemed arrogant. She definitely didn't make a great first impression walking in to meet his family with an open alcoholic beverage in her hand. I mean, everyone has a drink now and again, but going to meet your significant other's family for the first time, drinking, not a good look. Mandy also didn't approve of her. She says that from what Kuston had told her, Kaylee was possessive. She didn't want him to be around his friends. She wanted to control all aspects of his life. The relationship wasn't all sunshine from the inside either. They were constantly on and off over 3.5 years, breaking up and getting back together. I have to say it. If the relationship keeps breaking down to the point of breaking up over and over again, there's a reason for it. It's probably time to step away and find someone else. I know it's easier said than done, but personally, I couldn't stand the constant make-up, break-up drama. Give me a peaceful life any day, even if it means that I'm alone. Okay, thank you for letting me rant. I feel better now. Then one day they had a fight that had Kuston deciding to call it quits for good. He called his best friend Dennis to help him move all of Kaylee's things into the garage. He wanted her out. However, the following day, it was like it had never happened. The couple were back together. This was a surprise to Dennis that the turnaround was so fast. For those of us that understand coercive control and abuse though, this makes sense. She knew she had lost control of him, and she no doubt turned up the charm. The love bombing, the manipulation and the gaslighting, to the point that he would have believed that he was overreacting and it was probably all his fault. It is sadly too common of a scenario. Dennis knew that this was a volatile relationship that his friend was in, but he didn't know just how bad it could get until the night he and his girlfriend went around for a few drinks. It was Thursday, the 10th of September, 2015. What should have been a fun evening was anything but. Kuston was not his usual fun-loving, vivacious self. It was obvious to Dennis that this relationship was still not great, and Kuston wasn't happy with his decision to take Kaylee back. He told Dennis that he didn't think it was going to work out, telling him that he wasn't happy, and also that Kaylee wasn't happy. Now, besides the two couples, Brittany, Dennis's girlfriend, had her son there. She'd been taking care of him, helping with homework and settling him to bed in the spare room. So when she came to join the others, she was the only sober one in the group. And she came out to find Kaylee and Kuston arguing, yelling and swearing. But it wasn't long before things turned physical. Kuston had a hold of Kaylee, restraining her in a headlock, and Brittany told him to let her go. He did, and then he left. Kaylee told Brittany that she was moving out because of nights like these. that's a healthy and positive response, right? Well, it would have been, only that that's not what happened. Brittany says that a rage came over Kaylee, that she tracked Kuston down in the garage and started throwing things at him. When he and Dennis escaped the onslaught and made their way into the bathroom, Dennis saw a large gash to the side of his friend's face. When they came back out of the bathroom, Kaylee was, in Dennis's words, still going ballistic. And that was when she went into the kitchen and got a knife from the counter. Kuston took the knife from Kaylee and handed it off to Dennis. At this point, Brittany tried to convince Kaylee to leave with her and go to her house. But she said, no, I'm not going anywhere. I'm not leaving my stuff here. Instead of leaving, she went into the bedroom to take her TV. Kuston followed her in and was attempting to unhook the TV so she could take it. And another physical altercation broke out. Brittany pulled Kaylee out of the room, but she fought her way back in there. And by the time Brittany re-entered the bedroom, Dennis and Kuston were in the bathroom in an attempt to separate from Kaylee yet again. Kaylee was still irate. She threw an iron at the closed bathroom door, leaving a huge hole. And then from behind the door, Brittany heard a thud. It was Kuston. He had collapsed. Dennis says Kuston fell to his knees and basically toppled face first to the floor. When he turned his friend over, Dennis found a puncture wound. Kuston had been stabbed in the chest. Dennis began yelling to call 911, to which Kaylee responded, no, he's just drunk, he's faking, there's nothing wrong with him. Dennis describes how Kaylee behaved after Kuston collapsed, saying she was just standing over him, taunting him and saying, he's just faking, I didn't stab him that hard. As Kuston began gasping for air, Kaylee said, no, I know I'm about to go to jail. Like it was all about her. Dennis called 911, and as Kuston stopped breathing, Brittany started chest compressions on him. That was when Kaylee finally began to react semi-appropriately. She panicked, but was it for him or for herself, I wonder? In the background of the 911 call, she can be heard yelling, Kuston, why are you not breathing? Why is he not breathing? Kuston was taken to hospital and pronounced dead. It was left to Mandy, Kuston's ex-fiancée, to break the heartbreaking news to his 16-year-old son. Mandy had a horrible feeling that she knew who had done this to Kuston. Kaylee was taken to the Bowling Green police station, where she described Kuston as the abusive one, and that what she had done had been retaliatory. The police then took her back to the home to have her walk them through the events of the night. That was when they became more suspicious of her and her story. The things that she was saying just didn't add up. Kaylee told the police that she only had the knife in the kitchen and that she had picked it up because Kuston was choking her. The way she said things had happened didn't match the evidence. It also didn't match Brittany's version of events. When Brittany walked the detectives through the crime scene, she told them that Kaylee had the knife in the kitchen and in the bedroom. The police interviewed Kaylee again and confronted her with the autopsy findings, along with all the other things she'd said that just didn't fit. They also found that around 4 weeks beforehand, she had put up a social media post saying, quote, go back to sleep, baby, I'm planning your funeral. Mandy, Kuston's ex, said whether it was a joke or not, those thoughts had to have been in her head to post that weeks before. So did that make it premeditated? Kaylee kept insisting it was self-defense. She was ultimately charged 2 months after Kuston's death with reckless homicide. Kuston's family was shocked that it wasn't a murder charge, seeing as she had gotten a knife, returned to the room where he was and stabbed him at a downward angle into his chest. She was obviously coming at him to do him harm. Kaylee's defense attorney laid out the scenario as though she was fearing for her life. But Brittany, who was there that night, doesn't believe she was fearing for her life at all. In fact, she says Kaylee made it known that she wasn't scared of Kuston. And even though many victims of DV play it off and say that they're not afraid, I genuinely believe Kaylee wasn't afraid. Otherwise, why would you charge back into a room with a knife and go after a guy that you're afraid of who had already disarmed you of a knife once this evening? It just doesn't make sense. In the September 2016 trial, the detective who had interviewed Kaylee repeatedly described how her story had changed. After the 3-day trial and dozens of witnesses, the jury returned a verdict in 3 hours. They found Kaylee guilty. The max sentence was 5 years. However, the jury set it at 4. Dennis, Kuston's best friend, who held him as he died on the bathroom floor, believes this was not justice. It was a slap in the face. He says quite accurately, if it had been the other way around and Kuston had used a knife in self-defense on Kaylee, even if she'd lived, he would have gotten a harsher sentence than this. It's disgraceful. Kuston was 36 years old, and the person responsible for taking his life would be out by the time they were 30. I agree that's not justice. Mandy spoke to Crime Watch Daily, reminding people that domestic violence doesn't discriminate. It knows no race, gender, or size, and that Kuston was the victim in this situation. To add insult to injury, Kaylee was up for parole after serving only 15% of that 4-year sentence. So she was eligible for parole after 6 months. From what I could find, she was released on the 21st of February 2018, meaning she served only 18 months. Let me know what you guys think about this one. Was it self-defense? Should she have been charged or sentenced more harshly? It sounds like a crappy relationship all around. However, on that night, she had other people there trying to help her leave, and she kept going back and escalating the situation. I don't think she feared for her life, and it wasn't self-defense. And reckless homicide? I don't know. Even if it wasn't premeditated, I think there may have been a bit more viciousness and maliciousness in the attack than mere recklessness. Anyway, let me know what you think. I would love to hear your take on this case. But that, my friends, is all I have for you today. I'm sorry these videos are so short these days, guys. I don't know what's going on. I think the problem is that the lesser known cases, there's less out there for me to actually pass along to you guys. But I may start merging two together again. Anyway, if the content of this case raised any concerns for you regarding your own relationship or that of a loved one, please reach out for help. There's a list of resources in the show notes and the description box below. Please know that you are not alone. There is help out there. I thank you again for joining me this week, and until next time, please take care of yourselves and be kind to one another.